So today's conversation is the U.S. Post Office's new added fees going in for larger packages. We're going to give you a few tools and give you the biggest aspect that you should understand about it. Hey, it's Don. Today we're going to talk about the U.S. Post Office's shipping changes. Changes that could affect quite a few of you out there. Now, as I said in the past, I'm not going to worry about it until it's actually announced by eBay, which it was, I think, on the 9th. After that point, we assessed it from there. Now, we're going to go look at it. I'll give you a tool as well you can use, which should be very helpful to those who are new to shipping as well as those who have been doing it for a long time. Now, before we get into it, let me just give you the biggest, most important aspect of this change right across the board. It's for everybody. It's not just for you. Your competition is going to have to raise the prices as well. A large amount of what you are selling will still be bought by people because everybody else will be charging the same increased shipping fees. So here it is on eBay. And again, as I said, I don't really mess with this until it hits eBay. eBay has special deals with the post office. In my opinion, they were fine with this in every step of the way because it means eBay is going to get a big bonus. They're going to take 10-15% of all of these new charges. So every time a new charge comes on, eBay makes more money. So eBay's not going to fight for us as far as I would personally say. Again, this is my opinion, but judge it for yourself. They're not going to fight for this. They had the ability, in my opinion, they made the post office create an entirely new option of scannability into the system with the envelope rate. Now, I don't use it because it's not standardized. It doesn't show up through the post office, and it doesn't guarantee a delivery scan. And that's the biggest aspect you need. Now, we don't ship huge items anymore at all. We cut off electronics and all sorts of bigger items. So I don't usually have that at all. Now, if you're looking at the very first one here, 22 inches to 30 inches, there's a $4 extra fee. Now, for like a poster, for example, a movie poster, it's 27 by 42. It can roll up at 27 inches, and you can ship it for under 30 inches, meaning that it may increase your price $4. Now, if you check with UPS, you can probably knock that down $1.50, $1.75 possibly as well, especially if you register with a business account. Now, I will show you a couple boxing techniques in a video coming up in the next day or so on how you can avoid some of these fees by boxing specifically. That video should be very helpful to folks out there who aren't aware of other options to ship certain items. I'll show you a few different options next day or so, so please keep an eye out on it. Now, before we go any farther, let me just address one more issue that I've had here on YouTube. I've had a lot of people tell me that they're not getting notices anymore, and YouTube unsubscribed them from the channel. If you've been subscribed in the past, I would go back and check, because apparently YouTube has went ahead and purged or whatever they do on a routine basis. But anyway, back to the topics here. Now, if it's over 30 inches, it's $15. That's the big one there. A movie poster, a standard one-sheet movie poster, or the majority of posters out there are under 30 inches. You can get away with it. The 42-inch aspect of a poster is the part that's going to be rolled. So it's under 30 inches. It's 27.5. You've got about a ½ inch on either side, which will put you in just around 29, just hair over 29 if you're careful. Now, the biggest important one here for most people, from what I see, is the overall cubic feet part. So it's 2 cubic feet. You can't go over that. If you do, it's $15. Well, I know a lot of people may have some concerns or not know how to figure that out. Let me show you a site here that will give it to you right here. I'll have a link to the cubic feet calculator. And all you got to do is pop in the inches and hit calculate, and it's going to give you the total of cubic feet for the size of box that you have. Now, 1 more inch on this chart here, 1 more inch in size, once you calculate it, puts it over 2 cubic feet. Now, it doesn't really matter which box has which dimensions in it. If you're shipping a punch bowl or a big piece of pottery or something, you got to know these numbers for sure. It might mean the difference between making a profit and not making a profit. So when you're out there sourcing, you're going to have to make sure that you know the size of it packed. So you'll know whether you're going to have to be hit by an extra $15 fee on there. Even if you pass that on to the buyer, you're still going to have some concern about that, because that's 15 more bucks that the buyer will have to shell out to get the item, no matter what. And if that's included, if you're including shipping into your listing, you have to remember that that 15 bucks is going to come out of there too. If you don't calculate the size, the cubic feet of your package before you list it, you may miscalculate and undercharge by 15 bucks. So you'll be making less money. So it's essential that you pay attention to this specific aspect here. I'll have a link to this, as I said. It's the calculatorsite.com cubic feet calculator. So just look down below. You'll easily be able to pick this one up. So that tool should help a lot of folks figuring out how big 2 cubic feet is. All you have to do is type in the dimensions of the box you have, and it will tell you the size. And as I said, you should always put a size in your listing no matter where you're listing at. Amazon, it's crucial as well. You don't want to be dinged. You don't want to have issues. eBay, of course, you've always supposed to have had it in there. If you're doing calculated shipping like we do, it's automatically something you always think about. You'll remember the sizes as well that way. Once you've sold a bunch of stuff in a certain size range, you won't forget what, say, a record sells for, whether it's a 45, an LP, a 10-incher, 78s, whatever. You'll always know the size, the dimensions. A comic book postcard, action figures, mint on card action figures, you're going to know those sizes by heart. It'll come second nature. You'll automatically know before you even buy it, chances are, what the dimensions will be and your basic cost, depending on if it's east, west coast, or transversing the country, or whatever the case may be. Now back over to the rates for just a minute here. You've got a dimensional non-compliance fee. An additional $1.50 fee will apply to packages greater than 1 cubic feet or 22 inches in length for retail ground, priority, express, parcel ground when dimensions provided are inaccurate. Now we do calculated shipping, so it's going to throw it in. There isn't much you can do about it in that case. If you're not doing calculated shipping, you can still use their calculator, but it does not give you a size dimensional breakdown on how many cubic feet it is, how much you could cut the box down to lower the fee cost on it. Use the cubic feet calculator that I showed you, and you can just change the dimensions of your box and see how much you need to shimmy off there to get it below the 2 cubic feet if you're shipping a bigger box. That's just my personal opinion on that. That's probably the best way. That's how I am going to do it. I'm going to use that calculator for anything big. I'm going to automatically have that with me so I can know without a doubt when I'm over the limit. If I'm out in there and I see a big radio or something like that, I'm going to have to know ahead of time if 15 bucks is going to be added into the shipping cost automatically when a buyer or a potential buyer is looking at the item. Just always make sure you put the dimensions on there. As long as you do that, you shouldn't have any deals with the dimensional non-compliance fee. All it's saying is you're not putting the dimensions, you put the dimensions, and you won't get billed. Now, even if they don't catch it when you're mailing it, they can still send you a notice for bill on it. So just be careful. Just make sure you measure it and put the correct measurements in there. It only takes an extra few moments to do it. And honestly, if you can see with the penalties on here, it's the best way to do it. If you're not sure, get a good estimate and add an inch or two over it just to make sure you have a little playroom with it. That's your best recommendations to make sure you're not hit by these fees. And as I said earlier, I will have a video coming up on how to box things to save yourself a little extra money and avoid some of these fees. Well, there we have it. Hopefully that gave you some ideas, some thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell all your friends.
Look, it's the first cough of the cold season.
Oh, my.
See, a scratchy-throated rasper.
cough is very rare.
And look, a blue-beaked hacker. Oh, and it's a big one.
Your first cough this season may be a big one. And that means Vicks Formula 44 Extra Strength Cough Mixture with a cough suppressant as effective as codeine but not narcotic. If you can't get away for the cold season.